Hello all and welcome, and I am the MGTOW Philosopher. Now in this video I would like to talk about my ideas for stopping illegal immigration to the United States of America. I'd also like to talk about some other ideas first that are already in use or in limited use, but hopefully will become mandatory throughout the country. Now first let's talk about E-Verify. Now E-Verify compares information from an employer's employment eligibility verification form, I-9, to data from U.S. government records. And if the information matches, that employee is eligible to work in the United States. If there's a mismatch, E-Verify, well, it alerts the employer, and the employee is allowed to work while he or she resolves the problem. But they must contact the appropriate agency to resolve the mismatch within 8 federal government workdays from the referral date. Now, the program is operated by the Department of Homeland Security in partnership with the Social Security Administration. So, essentially, it cross-matches a number of different forms and ways of identifying a person other than just being given a Social Security number and then you just hire them. So, it's very reliable, but it's not foolproof because, as we all know, many people still work off the books and are paid in cash. It is a good start, but it's not the only tool we need. Now, of course, fining employers for employing illegals is good, but there's already laws on the books for that. And the biggest problem there is that those laws don't get enforced for a variety of reasons, usually having to do with local politicians choosing to ignore federal laws, sanctuary cities where businesses are more often than not investigated to see if they're employing illegals, and local law enforcement, well, they're simply not making it a priority to look into this. They can't be bothered. To be honest, the list of reasons why these laws are not enforced is a long one, and for the most part, it either has to do with ideological corruption or actual corruption involving dollar bills, yo. Now, building the wall, a wall similar to the wall around, say, Israel, would solve most of the problems. However, you'd still have some people getting into the country by, for example, overstaying visas, as well as the tens of millions who would still be in America after, say, the wall was built. And you would also have some crafty folks managing to get across the southern border via other means. Now, the wall, it would stop most of the migration of illegals from Mexico and South America, but it wouldn't stop all of them. So, that being the case, what do you do to stop virtually all illegal aliens from entering the USA? Well, I'll tell you what. You make it a felony, of course, punishable by up to 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. And if they cannot pay the fine, well, we put them in jail for a minimum of 1 year. A private corporation could run the prison where they could work making, shoes, shirts, underwear, waffle makers, whatever. And they could get paid 5 cents an hour doing it. And then the prison gives the U.S. government a split of those profits. And they run the prison based off of the profits they make producing goods for sale. They have the inmates, workers, work a mandatory 40-hour work week. And they feed them prepackaged food that costs about $1 a meal. Doesn't that sound yummy? So let's add it up. 3 meals a day, $3 a day to feed them, a little bit of electricity, nice cot, maybe $5 a day to maintain this person, a little hot water, they drink a little. The monthly costs are minimal. And those prepackaged foods, yummy. Sounds good, doesn't it? And when their sentence is over, you just deduct the cost of their ride home, be it a bus or a plane, from whatever pittance they've earned on the nickel an hour salary they received. And if there's anything left, good for them. But if there's nothing left, oh well. And then you send them packing. Then you make it a law that if they return and are caught, it's a mandatory 5-year sentence. And after that, 10 years. And if they're women that have kids, you just put the kids into the foster care system, just like American kids whose parents break the law, go to jail. and leave their parents with no one to take care of them. And you pay for it out of the money the government gets from the prison by having these illegal alien felons toiling away sewing underwear for 5 cents an hour. No U.S. taxpayer dollars required. Money comes out of whatever the government gets from the profits the prison makes and shares with the government. Perfect solution. I guarantee you that once the first wave of morons got caught and their kids ended up as wards of the state, that not one of them would ever enter America again after we deported them on their own dime. And that's it. Problem solved. Have a good day. In truth, you wouldn't even have to build a wall if you had these kind of border laws and this kind of enforcement. Now, you might think this sounds harsh. You might think I'm a heartless, evil bastard. But to be honest, no. Mexico has similar enforcement. So I guess they're black-hearted bastards too. Yeah, it's a felony to enter Mexico illegally, and it's punishable by up to 2 years in prison. And if you return, it's 10 years the second time. Whoa. Now that's pretty harsh for a country that tells us we should accept all Guatemalan immigrants in the hundreds of thousands, but they don't want to accept any because the Guatemalans are too poor and they steal jobs from hungry Mexicans. Where have I heard this before? Sounds familiar, doesn't it? And by the way, don't even give me any crap about how America is a nation of immigrants. The country wasn't even created until 1776, for God's sake. And it was created, not immigrated to. There was no country here before we arrived. I suggest you check out my video on this, titled, America is a Nation of Immigrants. Oh, really? It goes into a lot of detail about the issue. And by the way, just so you know, Mexico is also a nation of immigrants. Spanish immigrants. Duh! And the Spanish left Mexico a lot later than the Brits left America. 1821 to be exact, leaving behind lots and lots and lots and lots of Spanish people and lots of people who had Spanish ancestry. In fact, most Mexicans had Spanish ancestry by that point, and in truth, the entire world is one of immigrants. So please, you crazy leftists out there, spare me the tired argument that any country where people traveled from one place to another, conquered, and then built a nation, that now they're somehow obligated to have open borders and let anyone in is somehow a valid argument. That's the argument of a moron, because by that logic, every country on earth would have to have open borders, meaning no borders. And that would include Mexico, by the way. You know, folks, most of the solutions to the majority of life's problems are rather simple ones. The only reason so many of you out there think that the solutions have to be complex is because leftists and so-called intellectuals have been convoluting everything with relativistic double-talk mumbo-jumbo nonsense that does nothing more than muddy the waters and obscure what would normally be very obvious solutions to rather simplistic problems. Don't fall for the bullshit. Use your own mind and look to reality and logic and reason for your solutions, not ideologies. I am the MGTOW philosopher, and I wish you a good day. And by the way, please subscribe, and if you would, support me by kicking me $1 or $2 on Patreon. It's not a lot, and it enables me to continue making content and growing my channel. Thanks for listening, and take care.